Caitlin Clark is really just taking over the damn golf world.
Did you witness the recent events at the Masters? As demonstrated by her appearance on the official YouTube channel for the Masters and the tweets from golf.com about it, Caitlin Clark not only turned up, but also took center stage.
Is my understanding, and this was some kind of a promotion going on as part of NetJets.
However, there is one surprising element that makes this event unique. The phone-free environment that makes for a completely different fan experience is something that most people don't discuss about the Masters. Clark explained how this relates to her own need to escape the pressure of basketball, just like Steph Curry does, and the crossover excited fans from both sports worlds.
But Caitlin Clark, of course, is there, and a lot is coming out about the Indiana Fever, the WNBA star, the biggest star in women's sports, in my opinion.
When the basketball sensation who has been making headlines, Caitlin Clark, entered the August grounds of Augusta National, she abruptly changed the game. And I'm not just talking about golf. And everyone began talking about her presence rather than the tournament itself. You're about to witness a side of the Masters that changes everything.
Seeing her go and be used by other sports to push to the other sports, to promote the other sports. And that's what the WNBA should be doing.
Clark has a closer bond with golf than most people realize. She has been actively involved with the sport for years, even competing in the Florida Annika Prom tournament. This shows that she is a true sports fan who values the subtleties and customs of the game rather than a famous person making sporadic appearances for publicity.
She attended the round 2 of the Masters. She played in 2 Pro-Ams this offseason. Yeah, she's going to do the Annika again.
The response to her arrival produced an intriguing dynamic. When women's basketball and golf have never shared the spotlight so prominently, this exact tension underscores the significance of this cultural crossing. Golf purists questioned why a basketball player received such attention at golf's most famous event.
Number one, let's just start here. How about this photo right here? Noah Kahan, Jim Nantz, the legendary Jim Nantz, who, of course, is flawless calling the Masters. Caitlin Clark right here, and Peyton Manning.
Augusta's photos perfectly captured this moment as Clark stood with PTO and Manning and legendary broadcaster Jim Nantz, looking completely at ease. They spread like a tidal wave across social media, connecting 2 different sports shores. One particularly popular photo, which received thousands of shares in a matter of hours, featured Clark chatting with golf royalty. Golf.com even acknowledged her influence by tweeting about her presence during round 2, comparing it to a prestigious country club unexpectedly welcoming a rock star through its doors.
But let's take a look. So you can see golf.com. Caitlin Clark is a big fan of threes no matter what the sport. Madness. You have golf.com tweeting about her. So this is her talking about the Masters.
Just as women's athletics receives unparalleled attention, Clark's significance goes beyond her basketball skills. Wherever she goes, millions of people watch her. She has become a cultural phenomenon.
She was also on a YouTube show on the Masters YouTube channel called Under the Umbrellas. And she talked about how invested all the fans are, all the celebrity, anybody that's there.
That's correct. At Augusta, Caitlin Clark became the focus of attention and even sat down for an interview because everyone follows her everywhere.
About having no cell phones and how peaceful that is. I would love to go to this thing. I got to tell you right now. But how invested everybody is, how peaceful it is.
Clark revealed that when the Masters put her in front of the camera, she talked about the one thing that makes Augusta different from every court she's ever played on: the calm, the silence, the sense of being completely present. She said that she was experiencing something at Augusta National that she craves deeply but rarely finds in basketball arena's peace. Augusta felt like a completely different universe.
It's just so different than everything else. There's really just nothing like this. And I think, honestly, the aspect of like not having your phone is so unique. Like, you can tell everybody is so invested, and they're really just there to watch the greatness of the athletes. And even the golfers talking about it after their rounds, like, they feel a different level of engagement from the fans too, and how invested they are, and you're really just living in the moment. And I think as a professional athlete, like, you can empathize with that, and I think that's really cool. And then
when Clark spoke to the Masters official YouTube channel, she focused on what makes Augusta National entirely unique in today's sports landscape: the lack of smartphones. Can you imagine what it's like to be Caitlin Clark right now, with cameras in your face all the time, millions of eyes watching every move, and the pressure of changing an entire sport on your shoulders?
a normal fan getting to follow on the course, and even talking to, like, I saw Josh Allen and Luke Combs and a few others last night. Like, that's what we all love about it, is like you're just one of the normal fans walking around doing all the same exact stuff, and there's just like a peacefulness about it. So I would put that up there at probably number one, because it's just so different. Like, there's really nothing like this.
In a world where screens take over everything, Augusta National is a unique environment where courteous applause reverberates over immaculate fairways in place of camera clicks, and the rustle of pine needles takes the place of notification pings. After years of playing under the biggest lights in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark said she found something incredibly rejuvenating at the Masters' presence. "It's such a nice way to get away from basketball and what your reality is every single day," she said, relishing the tranquility that comes from just being outside and feeling grounded and disconnected.
The weather we're getting spoiled with is making me a bit biased, but it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and the Masters also attracts so much off of the golf course. You went to Noah Kahn last night. I'm sure there were all
I'm a big Noah Kahn fan, so yeah, you can't go wrong. There's a lot of concerts, a lot of different things to do, a lot of people here that you get to meet, and that's what makes it really.
Even if arenas are humming with electronic distractions and performance pressure, Augusta provides Clark, the top WNBA draft pick, with a unique kind of haven that isn't about getting more attention, but rather about removing oneself from it. She attends one of the most prominent athletic competitions in the world, not to compete, but to take in the peaceful, phone-free atmosphere and re-establish a connection with herself, not as an athlete or celebrity, but as a person in need of peace.
A lot going on at Augusta when the Masters is there, obviously. And the ratings, that'll far and away be the largest rating golf ratings of the year. And so it's an interesting watch. Everybody really pays attention to it.
Because professional sports are associated with a lot of glamour and glamored, Clark's admiration for Augusta's calm environment reveals something important about what players really value. Not fame or recognition, but moments of sincere connection with a sport they love in front of fans who are legitimately there to watch rather than record.
Go on and make some more comments about the Masters and what it means to her.
When Clark mentioned Steph Curry in her Masters interview, she wasn't comparing jump shots or scoring records. Rather, she was revealing the psychological blueprint they both follow to handle the immense pressure of basketball stardom. These two sharpshooters have found that leaving the basketball court and entering the golf course offers something their primary sport could never listen to. This connection between Clark and golf isn't just a coincidence, though. It's actually part of an intriguing mental strategy she shares with one of the game's greatest players.
Way to get away from basketball and what your reality is every single day, and just to do something where you can, like, calm your mind and be away from people and be outside. I think one of my favorite stories is when Steph Curry, I think it was the playoffs, and I think it was the finals, they had just lost, and he didn't play very well. And the next day they had off, and he didn't want to go to the gym, he wanted to go to the golf course and just hit balls. And then the next day he came out and had like 45 points and shot really.
A completely different sport, golf provides a mental puzzle unlike anything else on the floor, so these fiercely competitive sportsmen turn to it as their mental retreat.
I think it just shows like how nice of a calming aspect it is for professional athletes, but also the competitive side of it. You understand, like, this is an escape for us too. Like,
players on a basketball floor are surrounded by loud physical contact and quick reflexes. For Clark, golf requires patience, accuracy, and silence. This contrast provides the ideal mental reset when you're constantly making quick decisions with defenders in your face and thousands of people screaming. It's incredibly refreshing to stand by yourself and calculate wind direction and green slopes. It activates a completely different part of the brain while still satiating your competitive instinct.
MJ is really competitive with it. The stories about MJ are crazy. Like, he would go play 18 and then show up to the game and drop 35. I could never do that. Like, that's a different breed, but yeah, you find a lot of hoopers also like basketball too. You know, it's just such a welcoming community, and it's really fun for me to be a part of and to bring more eyes to golf, and then in return, you know, hopefully a lot of golf fans start watching women's basketball.
Why this link exists powerful is the way Clark actively seeks to change golf culture. During her Masters visit, she highlighted her wish to spread awareness of the game and how her platform allows her to connect many sports, creating opportunities for others to learn about what she has discovered there.
I always refer to her as the hybrid love child of Larry Bird and Steph Curry. That's just whose game Caitlin Clark's game reminds me of, right? Sort of the three-point shooting of both Larry and Steph, and of course the handles of Larry. Larry Bird was an unbelievable passer.
She follows in the footsteps of basketball greats that came before her. Michael Jordan became famous for his fascination with golf. His friendly games frequently turned into psychological chess games with large stakes bets that demonstrated his competitive spirit. Clark offers a unique perspective, enjoying golf for both its competitive and friendly community.
Michael Jordan is notoriously famous for how cutthroat he was on the golf course and how competitive, and I think maybe him and Charles Barkley started feuding or got into it. I know they used to play golf a lot because of golf. I don't know. Chuck?
The psychology of high-achieving athletes explains why professional basketball players are drawn to golf. Basketball requires players to be constantly aware of their teammates, opponents, coaches, and supporters. Golf challenges you to look deep and face your mental state alone. For athletes who deal with team dynamics on a regular basis, this solo task is refreshingly new, but
I think this is real cool. The way she showed up here, how much she cares about it.
By introducing her basketball fan base into the golf world, Clark's strategy has the potential to transform both sports by attracting a new generation of fans who may not have previously thought about watching golf. Because of her involvement in the Augusta National Women's Amateur, Clark's influence extends beyond basketball, according to the internet. In golf, Clark has discovered a mental haven that may prolong her basketball career by avoiding burnout. The mental strategy Clark shares with Curry reveals what sustains excellence in today's sports landscape. Forward-thinking athletes create balance through complementary activities that challenge them differently.
She names it the best sporting event and not some kind of women's basketball or something like that. Nothing to do with the Chiefs or the NFL. She says it's the Masters. I think that's pretty damn cool. That's pretty cool indeed.
Clark's Augusta appearance is brilliant because of its cross-pollination effect, which makes basketball fans switch to golf, while golf enthusiasts notice the Clark phenomenon sweeping through the sport. It's like two planetary systems that have been orbiting apart for decades suddenly realizing their gravitational pull on one another. Beneath this spectacle, however, is something deeper. The way that women athletes are viewed in many sports environments has significantly changed as a result of Clark's reception at the Masters. Only a few years ago would a women's basketball player have drawn as much attention at golf's top tournament, but the barriers that keep women's sports in distinct categories are starting to fall down.
It would be very, very funny to see all the Indiana Fever players next summer just start golfing.
Every time Clark enters these historically male-dominated spaces, she reshapes expectations for female athletes following her path and, perhaps unconsciously, normalizes the idea that female athletes deserve the same respect, attention, and crossover appeal that male athletes have enjoyed for generations. What's most impressive is how Clark manages this cultural impact while preparing for her next basketball career chapter, making these barrier-breaking moments seem completely natural.
At least in these other sports like golf, it's been an established sport for how long. They know what they can do to get viewers. They can bring people on to a show and they know it'll draw viewers. They know bringing Caitlin Clark into anything will bring in Caitlin Clark.
What we're witnessing today is genuinely revolutionary, since Caitlin Clark is obfuscating the distinctions between sports in a manner that no one anticipated. The power of Clark's influence is that she creates a perfect storm where basketball fans learn about golf and golf enthusiasts develop an appreciation for women's hoops as she joins the WNBA. Her crossover appeal opens up new markets for women's basketball while also growing the audience for golf. Clark is redefining athletic limits as a sports ambassador. Can you see a time when sports will intersect and celebrate athletic success in all domains?